Muslim religious leaders have expressed support for the Gen Z-led demonstrations, saying the issues raised by the youth are legitimate and the government must listen and act. The Muslim leaders want President William Ruto to trim his cabinet and scrap unconstitutional offices to reduce wastage. And as Emily Chebet now reports, the leaders have accused the government and a section of politicians of turning their backs on the plight of Kenyans, saying the chaos witnessed would have been avoided after 90% of Kenyans opposed the finance bill during public participation.
The Kenya Kwanza government has been accused of deviating from their hustler narrative that won them votes during the last general election and going against the will of the people, in several instances curtailing the essence of public participation. Muslim religious leaders saying political corruption, opulence, rampant abuse of systems and institutions, and state capture have put the country at a crossroads.
Mr. President, our youth are seeking and demanding actions on theft, on raft of issues they have raised. They are not interested in multi-sectoral forum to dialogue over things and issues which are quite apparent and within your means to do or to initiate within the premise of our laws and constitution.
The religious leaders who said they share the frustration of the youth and empathize with them, cautioning the government against using the excuse of the rejection of the Finance Bill 2024 to push the common mwananchi by curtailing critical service delivery.
Trim down the size of your cabinet to 14. Rid your cabinet and government in general of those functionaries named in corruption, waste, fraud and abuse of public resources. Immediately reconstitute IEBC. Undertake and facilitate the audit of our public debt, enabling public participation in an inclusive, transparent, and accountable manner.
We are saying that actually all these unconstitutional offices that have been set up, they should be dismantled immediately. All those refurbishments of State House and other places which are not essential should be cut down. But what we are also saying is that the JSS, which is a very important section of education, cannot be cut down. Those teachers should be employed.
On the opulence that has been a major concern to Kenyans, the Muslim leaders said Harambes started in a good faith, but Kenyans must be careful on stolen money making its way to places of worship.
Somebody brings 20 million shillings to a Harambe, 10 million shillings to a Harambe. We can calculate their salaries, how much they have earned for the last 2 years. The first question is to ask, where does this money come from? And I think as Kenyans, we should look for, in Islam, we call it halal money. The church has already given instructions saying that politicians should not be given platform. We never used to allow politicians to address people in the mosque, but I am glad that actually our brethren within the Christendom are also taking that action.
The leaders have condemned the use of excessive force by police during the protests, warning Gen Zs against infiltration of goons, adding that it's time to change tact and ensure safety.
As a sign of leadership and patriotism, we urge you, Excellency, to unequivocally and publicly rein in the rogue police officers and restrain them from harming, arresting or kidnapping peaceful protesters. We urge you to release those in police custody or just missing, and for the state to underwrite and meet the cost of those protesters in hospitals and provide assistance to families in the burials of those slain by the police.
The leaders called on the youth to take a step back, saying endless protests cannot be an end, and pointing out that hooliganism and anarchists have infiltrated the mass action. They want the youth to re-strategize, saying their houses of worship remain open to them. Emily Chebet, Citizen TV.